Did you have to wear good pants to do that? Did you notice how much more light there is with that thing gone?
Why aren't you dressing?
It's suffocating upstairs. I made some grape juice for Georgie. He always liked grape. Here, have some.
Come on, get dressed. What's Dad sleeping so much for?
He's worried. When he's worried, he sleeps. We're dumb, Chris. Dad and I are stupid people. We don't know anything. You've got to protect us.
You're being silly. What's there to be afraid of?
To his last day in court, Steve never let go of the idea that Joe made him do it. If they're going to open the case up again, I won't live through it.
George is just a damn fool, Mother. Why do you take him seriously?
That family hates us, maybe even Annie.
Now, Mother.
You think because you like everybody, they like you.
Don't get all worked up about it, okay? I'll take care of everything.
Okay, when George goes, have her go with him.
Don't worry about Annie.
Steve is her father, too.
Are you going to cut it out, all right? Now, come.
Chris, you don't realize how people can hate. They can hate so much they'll tear the world to pieces.
Look, she's dressed already.
Are you feeling well, Kate?
Oh, what's the difference, dear? Certain people, the sicker they get, the longer they live.
Well, you look nice.
We're gonna tell her tonight.
Absolutely, don't worry about it.
I wish we could tell her now. I can't stand scheming. My stomach gets harmed.
It's not scheming, all right? I'm just waiting for her to be in a better mood.
Joe, are you gonna sleep all day?
The only one who's relaxed is your father. He's half asleep.
I'm relaxed.
Are you?
Look. Well, tell me when George comes, okay?
Okay.
Is my husband... Oh, terribly sorry.
It's okay. I'm a little silly about the dark.
It is getting dark.
Are you looking for your husband?
As usual. He spends so much time here, they'll be charging him rent.
Nobody was dressed, so he drove over to the depot to pick up my brother.
Oh, your brother's in.
Yeah, they should be here any minute now. Would you like a cold drink?
Oh, I will, thanks. My husband. Too hot to drive me to the beach. Men are like little boys. For the neighbors, they'll always cut the grass.
People like to do things for the Kellers. It's been that way since I can remember.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, I guess your brother's coming to give you away, huh?
I don't know. I suppose.
Must be all nerved up.
It's always a problem getting yourself married, isn't it?
Well, that depends on your shape, of course. I don't see why you should have had a problem.
I've had chances.
I'll bet. It's romantic. It's very unusual to me, marrying the brother of your sweetheart.
I don't know. I think it's mostly that whenever I thought of Chris, I thought of someone who will tell me the truth. When he tells you something, you know it's so. He relaxes me.
And he's got money. That's important, you know.
It wouldn't matter to me.
You'd be surprised. Makes all the difference. I married an intern on my salary. And that was bad because once a woman supports a man, he owes her something. And you can never support somebody without resenting them. That's true, you know.
Underneath, I think the doctor's is very devoted.
Oh, certainly. But it's bad when a man always sees the bars in front of him. Jim thinks he's in jail all the time. And that's why I've been intending to ask you a small favor, Anne. It's something very important to me.
Sure, if I can do it.
You can. When you take up housekeeping, try to find a place away from here.
Are you fooling?
No, I'm very serious. My is unhappy with Chris around.
How is that?
Well, Jim's a successful doctor, but he's got an idea. He wants to go into medical research, discover things, you see?
And isn't that good?
Research pays $25 a week, minus laundering the hair shirt. You've got to give up your life to go into it.
And how does Chris enter into
Chris makes people want to be better than it's possible to be. He does that to people.
Is that bad?
My husband has a family, dear. Every time he has a session with Chris, he feels he's compromising himself by not giving up everything for research. As if Chris or anybody else isn't compromising. It happens with Jim every couple of years. He meets a man and then he makes a statue out of him.
Well, maybe he's right. I don't mean that Chris
now,
is
darling,
a statue.
you know he isn't right.
I don't agree with you. I think Chris is just trying to...
Let's face it, dear. Chris is working with his father, isn't he? He's taking money out of that business every week in the year.
What of it?
You're asking me what of
I
it?
certainly am asking you. I'm not cast aspersions like that. I'm surprised at you.
You're surprised at me.
Chris would never take 5 cents out of that plant if there was anything wrong in it.
You know that.
I know it. I resent everything you said.
Oh, you know what I resent, dear?
Oh, please, I don't want to...
No, I resent living next door to the Holy Family. It makes me look like a bum, you understand?
I don't do anything about that.
Who is he to ruin a man's life? Everybody knows Joe pulled a fast one to get out of jail.
That's not true.
Oh, well, then why did you go and talk to people? Go and talk to them. There's not a person on the block that doesn't know the truth.
That's a lie. People come here all the time for cards and...
Oh, so what? They give him credit for being smart. Look, I do too. I've got nothing against Joe. But if Chris wants to make people take off, put on the hair shirt, let him put off his broadcloth. He's driving my husband crazy with that phony idealism of his, and I'm at the end of my rope on it. Oh, hello, darling. How's Mother?
I thought George came.
Yeah? No, it's just us.
Susie, do me a favor, will you? Mother's all worked up. Will you try to calm her down for me?
Uh-oh, she still doesn't know about you two?
Well, she senses it, I guess. You know my mother.
Yeah, she's psychic.
There's something in the medicine chest?
I'll give her one of everything.
Okay.
And don't worry about Kate. A few drinks, dance her around a little. She'll love Anne. Because you're the female version of him. Oh, don't be alarmed. I said version.
She's an interesting woman, isn't she?
Yeah, she's very interesting.
She's a very good nurse, you know.
Are you still doing that?
Doing what?
As soon as you get to know somebody, you find a distinction for them. I mean, how do you know she's a great nurse?
What's the matter, Anne?
Gee, Chris.
What's it you?
The woman hates you.
What happened
She
here?
despises you.
What? What's the matter?
Why didn't you tell me?
Tell you what?
She says they think that Joe is guilty.
Well, who cares what they think?
I don't care what they think. I just don't understand why you took the trouble to deny it. You said it was all forgotten.
I didn't want you to think there was anything wrong with you coming here. A lot of people suspect my father,
But
and I
never
thought you
said
might...
that I suspected him.
Well, nobody says it.
Chris, I know how much you love him.
Do you think I could forgive him if he'd done such a thing?
I'm not here out of a blue sky. I turned my back on my father. If there's anything wrong here now, I don't know.
I know that, Anne. I know that.
George is coming from Dad, and I don't think it's with a blessing.
Well, he's welcome here. You got nothing to fear from George.
Tell me that. Just tell me that.
The man is innocent, Anne. He was falsely accused once and put him through hell. You want him to go through that again? All right, there's nothing wrong for you here, kid. Come here. It's all right.
All right. All right.
Every time I come out here, it looks like playland.
Thought you were going to shave.
In a minute, I just woke up. I can't see nothing.
You look shaved?
It's got to be extra special tonight. Big night, Annie. Now, how's it feel to be a married woman?
Oh, I don't know yet.
What's the matter? You slipping?
The great Rouet.
What is that,
It's
Rouet?
French.
Don't talk dirty.
You ever seen a bigger ignoramus?
Well, somebody's got to make a living.
That's telling him.
I don't know, everybody's getting so goddamn educated in this country, there'll be no one to take away the trash. It's getting so the only dumb ones left are the bosses.
You're not so dumb, Joe.
I know, but you go into our plant, for instance, I got so many lieutenants, majors, colonels. I'm ashamed to ask somebody to sweep the floor. I got to be careful, I'll insult somebody. No kidding, it's a tragedy. You stand on the street today and spit, you're going to hit a college man.
Then don't spit.
I mean to say, it's coming to a pass. I've been thinking, Annie, your brother George. I've been thinking about your brother George. When he comes, I want you to broach something to him.
Brooch.
What's the matter with broach?
It's not English.
When I went to night school, it was broach.
Well, in day school, it's brooch.
Don't surround me, will you? Seriously, Ann. You say he's not well, George. I've been thinking, why should he knock himself out in New York with that cutthroat competition when I got so many friends here? I'm very friendly with some big lawyers in town. I could set him up here.
That's awfully nice of you, Joe.
No, kid. It ain't nice of me. I want you to understand me. I'm thinking of Chris. See, this is what I mean. You get older, you want to feel you accomplished something now. The only thing I accomplished is my son. I ain't brainy. That's all I accomplished. Now, a year, 18 months, your father's going to be a free man. Who's he going to come to, Annie? His baby. You. He's going to come old, mad, into your house.
That can't matter anymore, Joe.
I don't want that hate to come between us.
I can only tell you that that could never happen.
You're in love now, Annie, but I'm older than you, and I know. Believe me, a daughter is a daughter, and a father is a father, and it could happen. So, I want you and George to go to him in prison and tell him, Dad, Joe says he wants to bring you into the business when you get out.
You'd have him as a partner?
No, partner, a good job. I want him to know, Annie, sitting there, I want him to know that when he gets out, he's got a place waiting for him. It'll take his bitterness away. To know you got a place, it sweetens you.
That's awfully nice of you, Joe. You don't owe him anything.
I owe him a good kick in the teeth, but...
Well, then kick him in the
he's-
teeth! I don't want him near the play, you understand? And don't talk about him that way. People misunderstand you.
And I don't understand why she has to crucify the man.
Well, it's her father. What do
No,
you expect?
no.
What is it to you? Why do you
A
talk
father
this
is
way?
a father. I better shave. I didn't mean to yell at you, Annie.
Let's forget the whole thing, Joe.
Right. She's likable.
Shave, will you?
Right again.
I forgot all about it! No, I promised Kate I would fix her hair for tonight. Did she comb it yet?
Always a smile, eh? Hey, Lydia?
Sure, why not?
Come on up and comb my Katie's hair. She got a big night. Make her beautiful.
I will.
Hey, that could be a song. Come on up and comb my Katie's hair. Oh, come on up, 'cause she's my lady fair. How's that for when you're in high school? Oh, come on up, come on up.
What's the matter? Where is he?
Where is your mother?
Upstairs dressing. Where?
What happened to George?
I left him behind in the car. Now, listen to me, you two. Can you take some advice? Don't let him come in here.
Why?
You know why he's here. There's blood in his eye. Go talk to him someplace else.
Don't be an old lady, all right?
Oh, come on. He wants to take her home. What does that mean? You know what that means.
I'll drive him somewhere.
No!
Will you stop being an idiot?
Will you cut it out? Nobody's afraid of him here. Cut that out. Huh. Hell of a way to do. How long you been sitting out there?
The doctor said your mother isn't well.
Oh, so what? I mean, she'd want to see you, wouldn't she? We've been waiting for you all afternoon.
This is filthy. Did you bring another shirt?
Jim, what about the beach, huh?
Yeah, it's too hot to drive.
Well, how'd you get to the station? Zeppelin?
Mrs. Bayless, George. George, Mrs. Bayless.
How do you do?
You're the people that bought our house, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. Come and see what we did with it before you leave.
I liked it the way it was.
He's frank, isn't he?
All right, let's go.
No, really? Okay.
Take it easy, fella.
Wait, well, thanks for driving him. How you doing, George? You want some grape juice?
Good old Kate remembered my grape juice.
Well, you drank enough of it in this house. How you been, George? Why don't you sit down?
It takes me a minute. Let's seems so impossible.
What?
And I'm back here.
Say, you got kind of nervous, didn't you, George?
Yeah, toward the end of the day. What are you, big executive now?
Well, just kind of medium. How's the law?
I don't know, it seemed sensible when I was studying it in the hospital. But outside, there doesn't seem to be much of a law. Trees got thick, didn't they? What happened there?
Well, the wind blew it down. We got it here for Larry. Yeah, you know that.
Why? Afraid you're going to forget it?
What kind of a remark is that?
When did you start wearing a hat?
Today. I decided to look like a lawyer from now on anyway. Don't you recognize it?
Why?
It's your father's. He asked me to wear it.
How is he?
He got smaller.
Smaller?
Yeah. Little. He's a little man. That's what happens to suckers, you know. Another year, there wouldn't be anything left but his smell.
Hey, what's the matter, George? What's the trouble?
The trouble? Well, the trouble is that when you make suckers out of people once, you shouldn't try to do it twice.
What is that supposed to mean?
Are you married yet?
Will you sit down and stop being rude?
Are you married yet?
No, I'm not married yet.
You're not going to marry him.
Why am I not going to marry him?
Because his father destroyed your family.
Now look, George.
Cut it short, Chris. Tell her to come home with me. Let's not argue. You know what I've got to say.
You don't want to be the voice of God, do you?
I'm-
That's your trouble, George. You always dive into things. Now, what kind of statement is that to make? You're a big boy now.
I'm a big boy now.
Don't come bullying in here. If you got something to say, be civilized about it.
Don't civilize me!
Are you going to be like a grown man, or aren't you?
Sit down, dear. Now, don't be angry. What's the matter? What's wrong? You kissed me when I left, and now you're
My
acting-
life turned upside down since then. I couldn't go back to work after you left. I felt I had to go tell Dad that you were going to be married. It seemed impossible not to tell him. Annie, he loved you so much. We did a terrible thing. We can never be forgiven. To not even send him a card at Christmas? I didn't see him once since I got home from the war. Annie, you don't know what was done to that man. You don't know what
Of
happened.
course I know.
No, you can't know. You wouldn't be here. Dad went to the shop that morning. The night foreman came to him and showed him the cylinder heads. They were coming out of the process with defects. There was something wrong with the process. So Dad went directly to the phone and called here and told Joe to come down right away. But the morning passed and no sign of Joe. So Dad went to the phone again. By this time he had over 100 defectives. The army was screaming for stuff, and Dad didn't have anything to ship. So Joe told him, on the phone, Joe told him to weld, to cover up the cracks any way he could and ship them out.
Are you through now?
I'm not through now. Dad was afraid. He didn't want to do it if Joe wasn't there, but Joe promised to take responsibility. Do you understand what I'm saying? On the phone, you can't have responsibility. On the phone, you can always deny a phone call in court. And that's exactly what he did. They knew he was a liar the first time, but in the appeal, they believed that rotten lie, and now Joe is a big shot, and your dad is the patsy. Now what are you going to do? Are you going to eat his food? Sleep in his bed? Answer me, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do, George?
He's too smart for me. I can't prove a phone
And
call.
how dare you come in here with that rot?
George, the court said the same
The
thing.
court didn't know your father.
George,
But you do. You know in your heart Joe did it.
Hold your voice or I'll throw you out of
She
here.
knows. She knows.
Get him out of here, Annie. Get him out of here.
George, I know what you're saying, but George, he said that whole thing in court.
The court didn't know him, Annie!
Shh, but you know how quick he can lie.
I'll ask you a question. And you look me in the eye when you answer me.
I'll look you in the eye.
You know your father.
I know him well.
And he's the kind of boss to let 121 cylinder heads be repaired and shipped out without him even knowing about
He's
it.
that kind of boss.
And that's the same Joe Keller that before he left every day went around and saw that all the lights were out.
The same Joe Keller.
The same man who knows how many minutes a day his workers spend in the toilet.
The same man.
And my father, that frightened mouse who'd never buy a shirt without somebody along. That man would dare do something on his own.
On his own! And because he's a frightened mouse. This is another thing you do. Try to put the blame on another man because he's not man enough to take it himself. He did it in court. It didn't work, but with a fool like you, it works.
Chris, You're a liar to yourself.
Tell me something,
Not
George.
like that.
The court record was good enough for you all these years. What changed, huh? Why isn't it good enough after all these years?
Because you believed it, Chris. That's the truth. I believed it all these years because I thought you believed it. But today I heard it from his mouth. From his mouth, it's altogether different than the record. Anyone who knows him and knows your father will believe it from his mouth. Your father took everything we have. I can't beat that. But she's one item he's not going to grab. Get your things. Everything they have is covered with blood. You're not the kind of girl that can live with that. Get your things.
You're not going to believe that, are you, Annie?
You know it's not true,
How
don't
can
you?
he tell you? It's his father. None of these things ever cross your mind.
Of course it crossed my mind.
He knows.
Anything crossed your mind.
He knows, Annie. He knows.
The voice of God.
Then why isn't your name on the business? Explain that to her.
What the hell has that got to do with
Annie,
anything?
why isn't his name on the business?
Even when I don't own it?
Who are you kidding? Who gets it when he dies? Open your eyes. You know the two of them, the way they love each other. Isn't that the first thing they would do? J.O. Keller and Son. I'll settle it. Or are you afraid to settle it?
What do you mean?
Let me go up and talk to your father. In 10 minutes, you'll have the answer. Or are you afraid of the answer?
I'm not afraid of the answer. I know the answer. But my mother isn't well. I'm not going to have a fight here now.
Let me go to it.
I'm not going to start a fight here now!
What more do you want?
Someone's coming.
You won't say anything now.
You'll go soon. I'll call a cab.
You're coming with me.
And you're not going to mention marriage because we haven't told her yet.
You're coming with me.
George, you're not going to start anything now. Shh.
Georgie.
Hello, Kate.
I made an old man of you. Look, you're gray.
I know.
When you went away, I told you not to try for medals.
I didn't try, Kate. They made it easy for me.
Go on, you're all alike. Look at him. You said he was fine. He looks like a ghost.
I feel all right.
Makes me sick. Why don't she feed you?
He just hasn't any appetite.
Well, if he ate in my house, he'd have an appetite. I pity your husband. Now you sit down, and I'll make you a sandwich.
I don't feel hungry, Kate.
It breaks my heart to see what's happened to all the children. How we worked and planned, and you end up no better than us.
Kate, you haven't changed at all.
None of us have changed. We love you. Joe was just talking about the day you were born and they turned the water off. People were bringing basins from a block away. Any stranger would have thought the whole neighborhood was on fire. Why didn't you give him some grape juice?
Oh, I offered it to him.
You offered it to him. Give it to him. Now you sit here and you drink your juice and you look like something.
I'm feeling hungry already.
She could turn Mahatma Gandhi into a heavyweight.
Listen, the hell with a restaurant. I have a ham in the icebox, and avocados, and frozen strawberries.
Well, I'll help you.
The train leaves at 8:30, Anne.
You're leaving?
No, she's not, Mother.
You hardly got here. Give yourself a chance to get acquainted again.
You barely know us anymore.
Well, Chris, if they can't stay, then...
No, it's just a matter of George, Mother. He thought he might...
No,
you know.
wait a minute, Chris.
Hey, George, if you want to leave, I'll take you to the station now. But if you're staying, no arguments while you're here.
Why should he argue? Georgie and us have no arguments. How could we have an argument, Georgie? The same lightning hit all of us. Did you see Larry's tree? While I was dreaming about him in the middle of the night, the wind comes along.
Georgie.
Georgie!
Hello! Laughing! What'd you do, girl?
Yeah, I'm a big girl now.
Look what she can do to a hat
Did you make that?
in 10
I
minutes.
only rearranged
You
it.
still make your own clothes?
Look, ain't she classy? All she needs is a Russian wolfhound.
I feel like I got somebody sitting on my
Oh,
hat.
it's beautiful, Kate.
She's a genius. You should have married her. This one can feed you.
Stop that, Kate.
Didn't I hear you had a baby?
You don't hear so good. She's got 3 babies.
Oh, no kidding. 3.
Yeah, it was just 1, 2, 3. You've been away a long time, Georgie.
I'm beginning to realize.
The trouble with you kids is you think too much.
No, we think too.
Yeah, but not all the time.
They never came for Frank, huh?
No, he always managed to be 1 year ahead of the draft.
It was amazing. When they called boys 27, Frank was just 28. When they made it 28, he was just 29. That's why he took up astrology. It's all in when you were born. It just goes to show.
What does it go to show?
Don't be so intelligent. Some superstitions are very nice. Did he finish Larry's horoscope?
I'm going in now. I'll ask him. Would you like to see my babies?
Come on.
I don't think so, Lydia.
Good luck to you, George.
Thanks. And you. And Frank.
Oh, Frank! She got pretty, huh?
Very pretty.
She's beautiful, you damn fool.
She makes it seem so nice around here.
Look what happened to you because you didn't listen to me. I told you to marry that girl and stay out of the army.
She used to laugh too much.
And you didn't laugh enough. While you were getting mad at the fascism, Frank was getting into her bed.
Ha! He won the war. Frank.
All the battles.
They first started the draft, I told you loved her.
And true love hath no man.
I'm smarter than any of you.
She's wonderful.
Now you listen to me, George. You had big principles. Eagle Scouts, the 3 of you. So now I got a tree. And this one over here, when the weather is bad, can't stand on his feet. And that big dope next door, who never read anything but Andy Gump, has 3 children and a house paid off. Stop being a philosopher and take care of yourself. Like Joe said, you come back here, he'll get you set, I'll find you a girl and put a smile on that face.
Joe? Joe wants me here?
He asked me to tell you, and I think it's a good idea.
Certainly! Why must you make believe that you hate us? Is that another principle, that you hate us? You don't hate us. I know you. You can't fool me. I diapered you. Remember Mr. Marcy's daughter?
She's got you hooked already.
George, you look her over. You see, she is beautiful.
She's got warts, George.
She does not have warts. So the girl has a little beauty mark on her chin.
And 3 on her nose.
You remember, her father was the retired police inspector.
Sergeant, George.
He was a very kind man.
He looks like a gorilla.
He never shot anybody.
Well, look who's here. Georgie, good to see you.
How are you, Joe?
So, getting old. You coming out to dinner with us?
No, I've got to get back to New York.
Ah,
I'll call a cab for you.
too bad you can't stay, George. Sit down. He looks fine.
He looks terrible.
That's what I said. You look terrible, George. I wear the pants and she beats me with the belt.
I saw your factory on the way in from the station. It looks like General Motors.
I wish it was General Motors, but it ain't. Sit down, George. Sit down. So you finally went to see your father, I hear.
Yeah, this morning. So, what sort of stuff do you make now?
A little bit of everything. Pressure cookers, an assembly for washing machines, a little bit, you know, we've got a nice flexible plant now. So, how'd you find Dad? Feel all right?
No, Joe, he's not well.
Not his heart again, is it?
It's everything. It's his heart. It's his soul, Joe.
Uh-huh.
Hey, you want to go see what they did with your house? Huh?
Leave him be.
I'd like to talk to him.
Sure, he just got here. Well, that's the way they do, George. Little man makes a mistake, they hang him by the thumbs. The big ones become ambassadors. I wish you'd have told me you were going to see Dad.
Really? I didn't know you were interested.
In a way, I am. I would like him to know that, as far as I'm concerned, any time he wants, he's got a place with me. I would like him to know that.
He hates your guts, don't you know that?
I imagined it, but that can change too.
Steve was never like that.
He's like that now. He'd like to take every man who made money in the war and put him up against a wall.
And we'll take a lot of bullets.
And he better not get any.
That's a sad thing to hear.
Why? What'd you expect him to think of you?
I'm sad to see that the man hasn't changed. I mean, as long as I know him, 25 years, the man never learned to take the blame. You know that, George.
Well,
But you do know it because the way you come in here, it don't look like you remember it. I mean, like in 1937, when we had that shop on Flood Street, he damn near blew us up with that heater he left burning for 2 days without any water. He wouldn't admit that was his fault either. I had to fire a mechanic to save his face. You remember that?
yes, but
I'm just mentioning these things because it's just another one of a lot of things, like the time he gave that money to Frank to invest in oil stock.
I know,
Hey, but it's good to remember these things, kid. The way he cursed Frank when the stock went down, was that Frank's fault? To listen to him, Frank was a swindler, and all he did was give him a bad stock tip.
I know those things.
Then remember them. Remember them. There are certain men in this world who rather see everybody hung before they'll take the blame. You understand me, George?
The cab's on its way. Would you like to wash?
Why must he go? Make the midnight, George.
Sure, come to dinner with us.
How about it? Why not? We're eating at the lake. We could have a swell time.
all right.
Oh, now you're talking?
Hey, I got a shirt that'll go well with that suit.
Size 15 and a half, right, Georgie?
Is Lydia, Frank and Lydia...
I'll get you a date. I'll get you a date that'll make her...
No, I don't want a date.
I know the girl just for you, Charlotte Tanner.
Oh, Charlotte, that's right.
Sure, call her.
You go up and pick out a shirt and tie.
I never felt at home anywhere but here. I feel so... Kate, you look so young. You know that? You didn't change at all. It rings an old bell. You too, Joe.
Hey,
You're amazingly the same.
I
The
ain't
whole
got-
atmosphere is.
I ain't got time to get sick.
He hasn't been laid up in 15 years.
Except for my flu during the war.
Oh, well, sure. I meant except for that flu. Well, don't look at me like that. It slipped my mind. He wanted to go to the shop, but he couldn't lift himself up off the bed. I thought he had pneumonia.
Why did you say he'd never...
I know how you feel, kid. I'll never forgive myself. If I could have got out of bed that day and gone to the shop, I never would let Dad touch those heads.
She said you've never been sick.
I said he was sick.
Annie, didn't you hear her say?
Do you remember every time you were sick?
I remember pneumonia, especially if I got it just the day my partner went to patch up cylinder heads. What happened that day, Joe?
Kate! Kate!
Frank, did you see George?
Oh, Lydia told me. Glad to... You'll have to pardon me. I've got something amazing for you, Kate. I finished Larry's horoscope.
Interested in this, George? It's wonderful the way he understands the stars.
Mother, George, the girl's on the phone.
Chris, he finished Larry's horoscope.
Frank, can't you pick a better time than this?
Well, the greatest men who ever lived believed in the stars.
Would you stop filling her head with that junk?
Is it junk to feel that there's a greater power than ourselves? Look, I've studied the stars of his life. I won't argue with you. I'm telling you, somewhere in this world, your brother is alive.
Why isn't it possible, Chris?
Because it's insane.
Just a minute now. I'll tell you something and you can do as you like. Just let me say it. He was supposed to have died on November 25th, but November 25th was his favorable day.
Mother!
Listen to him.
It was a day when everything good was shining on him. The kind of day he should have married on. Now you can laugh at a lot of it. I can understand you laughing, but the odds are 1,000,000 to 1 that a man won't die on his favorable day. That's known! That's known,
Why
Chris!
isn't it possible? Why isn't it possible, Chris?
Don't you understand what she's saying? She just told you to go. And what are you waiting for now?
Nobody can tell her to go.
your trouble, darling. Will you ask him to wait, Frank?
Sure thing.
They'll be right out, driver.
She's not leaving, Mother.
You heard her say it. He's never been sick.
He misunderstood me, Chris.
He just said to your father to kill pilots and then covered himself in bed.
You better answer him, Annie. Answer him.
I packed your bag, darling.
What?
I packed your bag. It's all you have to do is close it.
I'm not closing anything. He asked me here, and I'm staying till he tells me to go. Till Chris tells me.
That's all. Now get out of here, George.
Well, if that's how he feels, Chris.
That's all! Nothing more till Christ comes about the case or Larry as long as I'm here. Now you get out of here, George.
You tell me. I want to hear you tell me.
Go, George. George! Don't take it that way, George!
What do you mean you packed a bag? How dare you pack a bag?
Chris.
How dare you pack
She
a
doesn't
bag?
belong here.
And I don't belong here.
She's Larry's girl.
And I'm his brother and he's dead and I'm marrying his girl.
Never in this world.
You're losing your mind?
You have nothing to say.
I have plenty to say. 3.5 years now you've been talking like a maniac.
Nothing to say. Now I say he's coming back, and everybody has got to wait.
Mother.
Wait! Wait!
How long? How long?
Till he comes. Forever and ever until he comes.
Mother, I'm going ahead with it.
Chris, I have never said no to you in my life. Now I say no.
You'll never let him go till I do it.
I'll never let him go, and you'll never let him go.
I've let him go. I've let him go a long time.
Then let your father go!
She's out of her mind.
All together. Your brother is alive, darling, because if he's dead, your father killed him. Do you understand me now? As long as you live, that boy is alive. Because God does not let a son be killed by his father. Now, you see, don't you? Now, you see.
She's out of her mind.
You did it.
He never flew a P-40.
To the others.
No, she's out of her mind.
Dad, then that means you did it.
He never flew a P-40. What's
Dad,
the matter
did it
with
to
you?
The others. How could you do that?
How? What's the matter with you? What the hell's the matter with you?
Dad, you killed 21 men.
What? Killed?
You killed them. You murdered them.
Well, how could I kill anybody?
Dad, explain it to me. What did you do?
I didn't kill anybody.
I'm tearing you to pieces!
Don't
What did you do? What did you do?
Well,
You had 120 cracked engines and what did you do?
if you're gonna...
I'm listening! God almighty, I'm listening!
You're a boy. I'm in business. A man is in business. What could I do? 120 cracked. You're out of business. You got to process. The process is no good. You're out of business. You don't know how to operate. Your stuff is no good. They close you up. They tear up your contract. What the hell is it to them? You lay 40 years into a business, they knock you out in 5 minutes. What could I do? Let them take away 40 years? Let them take my life away? I never thought they'd install them. I swear to God, I thought they stopped them before anybody took off.
Why did you ship them out?
Well, I thought by the time they found them, I could get the process going again and show them they needed me, and they needed me, and they let it go by. But weeks passed, and I got no kickback, so I was going to tell them.
Why didn't you tell them?
It was too late. Too late. It was all over the newspapers, all over the front page. 21 went down. It was too late. What could I do? They came with handcuffs into the shop. What could I do? Chris, it was for you. It was for you. It was a chance, and I took it for you. I'm 61 years old. When would I have another chance to make something for you? You're 61. You don't get another chance, do you?
You knew they wouldn't work in the air.
I didn't say that.
But you were going to warn them.
Well, that don't mean.
That means you knew they'd crash.
It don't mean that.
And you thought they'd crash.
Well, I was afraid. Maybe.
You were afraid, maybe. What kind of man are you? Kids were hanging in the air by those heads. You knew that.
For you, for business, for you.
For me! Where do you live? Where do you come from for me? I was dying every day and you're killing my boys and you did it for me. What the hell are you thinking of? I think I was thinking of the business. What is that? The world. The business. What the hell are you? You're not even an animal. No animal kills its own. What are you? What must I do to you? I'm gonna tear the tongue out of your teeth. What must I do to you? What must I do? Jesus God. Dad. What must I do?
Chris,
What must I do?
Any news?
No news.
You really oughtn't to be up, dear. Why don't you go to bed?
I'm waiting for Chris. Don't worry about me, Jim. I'm perfectly all right.
But it's almost 2 o'clock.
I can't sleep. You had an emergency?
One of my patients has a headache and thinks he's dying. Huh. You know, half of my patients are quite mad. Nobody would realize how many people are running around out there and they're as cracked as coconuts. Money. 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 Say it often enough and it doesn't mean anything. How I would like to be around when that happens.
Oh, you're so childish, Jim. Sometimes you are.
Kate, what happened?
I told you. You had an argument with Joe, then he got in his car and drove away.
What kind of an argument?
An argument. Joe was crying like a child before.
They argued about Anne?
No, not Anne. Imagine. She hasn't come out of that room since he left. All night in that room.
What did Joe do? Tell him?
Tell him what?
Don't worry, Kate. I know. I've always known.
How?
It occurred to me a long time ago.
I've always had the feeling that in the back of his head, Chris almost knew. I never thought he would be such a shock to him.
Chris could never live with a thing like that. It takes a certain talent for lying. You have it, and I do, but not Chris.
What do you mean? He's not coming back?
Oh, no. He'll come back, Kate. We all do. These private little revolutions always die. The compromise is always made. In a peculiar way, Frank is right. Every man does have a star. The star of one's honesty. And when it goes out, it never comes back on again. Chris didn't go far. He probably just wanted to be alone, to watch his star go out.
Just as long as he comes back.
You know, I wish he wouldn't. One year, I just took off. I went to New Orleans. For 2 months, I lived on bananas and milk and studied a certain disease. It was beautiful. Then she came, and she cried, and I had to go back home with her. And now I live in the usual darkness. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't even remember the kind of man I wanted to be. But I'm a good husband. Chris is a good son. He'll be back. I think he's in the park. I'm going to look for him there. Put her to bed, Joe. This is no good for what she's got.
What does he want here?
His friend is not home.
I don't like him mixing in so much.
Too late, Joe. He knows.
How does he know?
He guessed a while ago.
I don't like that.
What you don't like.
Yeah, what I don't like.
You can't pull your way through this one, Joe. You better be smart. This thing is not over yet.
And what's she doing up there? She don't come out of that room.
I don't know what is she doing up there. Sit down and stop being mad. You want to live? You better figure out your life.
She don't know, does she?
She saw Chris storming out of here. It's 1 and 1. She knows how to add.
Maybe I ought to talk to her.
Don't ask me, Joe.
Then who do I ask? But I don't think she'll do anything about it.
You're asking me again.
I'm asking you. What, am I, a stranger? I thought I had a family here. What happened to my family?
You've got a family. I'm simply saying that I have no strength to think anymore.
You have no strength. The minute there's trouble, you have no strength.
You're doing the same thing again, Joe. All your life when there's trouble, you yell at me, and you think that settles it.
Then what do I do? Tell me, talk to me. What do I do?
I've been thinking this way, Joe. If he comes back,
What do you mean, if he's coming back?
I think you should sit him down and explain yourself. I mean, you ought to make it clear that you know you did a terrible thing. If he could see that you realize it, you see?
What ice does that cut?
I mean, if you told him that you wanted to pay for what you did,
How can I pay?
tell him that you're willing to go to prison.
I'm willing to go to
You
prison?
wouldn't go. He wouldn't ask you to go. But if you told him that you wanted to, if he could feel that you realized what you did and wanted to pay for it, maybe he would forgive you.
He would forgive me? For what?
Joe, you know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean. You wanted money, so I made money. What must I be forgiven? You wanted money, didn't you?
I didn't want it that way.
I didn't want it that way either. What difference is it what you want? I spoiled you, the both of you. I should have put him out when he was 10, like I was put out there. Make him earn his own keep. Then he'd know how a buck is made in this world. Forgiven? I could live on a quarter a day, but I got a family here, so
Joe, it don't excuse it that you did it for the family.
It's got to excuse it.
There's something bigger than the family to him.
Nothing is bigger.
There is to him.
There is nothing he could do that I wouldn't forgive, because he's my son, because I'm his father and he's my son.
Joe,
There's
I tell you, that's how he feels.
There's nothing bigger than that, and you're going to tell him. You understand? I'm his father. He's my son. And if there's something bigger than that, then I'll put a bullet in my head.
You stop that.
Right? Now you heard me. You know what to tell him, but he wouldn't put me away, would he? He wouldn't do that, would he?
Joe, he loved you. You broke his heart.
But to put me away.
I don't know. I'm beginning to think we don't know him. They all say he was such a killer in the war, and here he was afraid of ice. I don't know. I don't know what he'll do.
God damn, if Larry was alive, he wouldn't act like this. He understood the way the world is made. He listened to me. To him, the world had a 40-foot front. It ended at the building line. This one, everything bothers him. You make a deal, overcharge 2 cents, his hair falls out. He don't understand money. Too easy. It come too easy. Yes, sir, Larry. Larry. That was the boy we lost, Larry. Larry. What am I going to do, Kate?
Please, Joe, you'll be all right. Nothing is going to happen.
See you, Kate, for the both of you. That's all I ever lived for.
I know, darling. I know.
Why do you stay up? I'll tell you when he comes.
You didn't eat supper, did you? Why don't you make us something?
No,
Sure, I'll make you
never
some.
mind, Kate. I'm all right. There's something I want to tell you. I'm not going to do anything about it.
She's a good girl, see?
I'll do nothing about Joe, but you've got to do something for me. You made Chris feel guilty with me. Whether you wanted to or not, you've crippled him in front of me. I'd like you to tell him that Larry is dead and that you know it. You understand me? I'm not going out of here alone. There's no life for me that way. I want you to set him free. And then I promise you, all this will end and we'll go away and that's all.
You'll do that. You'll tell him.
I know what I'm asking, Kate. You had 2 sons, but you've only got 1 now.
You'll tell him?
And you've got to say it to him so that he knows you mean it.
No, dear. If the boy was dead, it wouldn't depend upon my words to tell Chris. The night he gets into your bed, his heart will dry up because he knows and you know. To his dying day, he will wait for his brother. No, dear, no such thing. You're going in the morning and you're going alone. That's your life. That's your lonely life.
Larry is dead, Kate.
Don't speak to me!
Larry is dead, I know. He crashed off the coast of China November 25th. His engine didn't fail him, but he died. I know.
How did he die? You're lying. How, if you know, how did he die?
I loved him. You know how much I loved him. Would I have even looked at anyone else if I wasn't sure? That's enough for you.
What's enough for me? What are you talking about?
I'm hurting my wrists.
What are you talking about?
Joe, go in the house.
Why should I go?
Please, go.
Let me know when he comes back.
What's that?
Sit down. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to show this to you. Larry wrote this to me the day that he... Now, remember, Kate, I'm not trying to hurt you. I've been so lonely, Kate. I can't leave here alone again. I told you 100 times. Why wouldn't you believe me?
Larry?
He wrote it to me the day that he... Now remember, I'm not trying to hurt you. You're making me do this. You're making me do this, Kate. Kate, dear.
Oh.
Please.
My
Please,
God.
I'm so sorry.
Larry.
I'm so sorry.
What's the matter?
Where were you? You're all perspired. Where were you?
Just drove around a little. I thought you'd be gone.
Where do I go? I have nowhere to go.
What's that?
Inside, lying down.
Sit down, both of you. I'll say what there is to say.
I didn't hear the car.
Put it in the garage.
Jim's out looking for you.
Mother, I'm going away now. There are a couple of firms in Cleveland. I'll find a place. I'm going away for good. I know what you're thinking, Anne. It's true. I'm yellow. I was made yellow in this house because I suspected my father and did nothing about it. But if I knew then, that night, when I came home, what I know now, he'd be in the district attorney's office, and I'd have put him there. Now when I look at him, all I can do is cry.
What are you talking about? What more can you do?
I could jail him. I could jail him if I were human anymore. But I'm like everybody else now. I'm practical now. You made me practical.
But you have to be.
The cats in that alley are practical. The bums who ran away from the fighting are practical. Only the dead ones weren't practical. But now I'm practical. And I spit on myself. I'm going away now. I'm going.
I'm coming with you.
No, Anne!
I swear, Chris, I won't ask you to do anything about Joe.
You do. You
I
do.
swear I never will.
In your heart, you always will.
Then do what you have to do.
And what is that exactly? What is there to do? I spent all night looking for a way to make him suffer.
There's reason. There's reason.
Do I raise the dead when I put them behind bars? If not, what do I do it for? You know, we used to shoot a man who acted like a dog, but there was honor there. There was something to protect. Not here. This is the land of the great big dogs. You don't love a man here. You read him. That's the principle, the only one we live by. Just happened to kill a few people this time. How can I take it out on him? That's the way the world is. It's a zoo. A zoo!
You know what he's got to do. Tell him.
Let him
I
go.
won't let him go. You'll tell him what he's got to... I'll tell him then.
What's the matter with you? I want to talk to you.
I've got nothing to say to you.
I want to talk to you.
Don't do that, Dad! I'm gonna hurt you if you do that. There's nothing to say, so say it quick.
What exactly is the matter? What's the matter? You got too much money? Is that what bothers you?
It bothers me.
Well, if you can't get used to it, then throw it away. You hear me? Take every cent and give it to charity. Throw it in the sewer. You think I'm kidding? I'm telling you what to do. Does that settle it? In the sewer. That's all. If it's dirty, then burn it. It's your money. It's not my money. I'm a dead man, an old dead man. Nothing is mine. Well, tell me. Talk to me. Tell me. What do you want to do?
It's not what I want to do, Dad. It's what you want to do.
What should I want to do? Jail? You want me to go to jail? If you want me to go, then say so. Is that where I belong? Then tell me. Why can't you tell me that? You say everything else to me, say that. I know why you can't tell me, because you know that's not where I belong. Because you know. Who worked for nothing in that war? When they work for nothing, I'll work for nothing. Did they ship a gun or a truck out of Detroit before they get their price? Is that clean? It's dollars and cents, nickels and dimes, War and Peace. It's nickels and dimes. What's clean? Half the goddamn country's got to go if I got to go. That's why you can't tell me.
That's exactly why.
Then how am I bad?
I know you're no worse than most men. But I thought you were better. I never thought of you as a man. I thought of you as my father. I can't look at you this way. I can't look at myself.
He's going to read it.
Give
Larry,
me that.
He wrote it to me the day that he died.
What? Why did you say
Chris,
Larry?
it's not for
Larry,
you.
What?
Joe, go away. Don't tell him, Chris.
Three and a half years. Talking. Now you tell me what I must do.
Chris, a man can't be
This is how
Jesus
we
in
talk.
this world.
I know all about the world. I know the whole crap story. Now listen to this, and you tell me what a man must be. My dear Anne, are you listening? He wrote this the day he died. Listen. Don't cry! Listen! My dear Anne, it is impossible to put down the things I feel. But I gotta tell you something. Yesterday they flew in a load of papers from the States, and I read about Dad and your father being convicted. I can't express myself. I can't tell you how I feel. I can't bear to live anymore. Last night I circled the base for 20 minutes before I could bring myself in. How could he have done that? Every day, 3 or 4 men never come back, and he sits back there doing business. I don't know how to tell you what I feel. I can't face anybody. I'm going out on a mission in a few minutes, my dear. They'll probably report me missing. If they do, I want you to know that you mustn't wait for me. I tell you, Anne, if I had him here now, I could kill him. Now blame the world. Do you understand that letter?
I think I do. Get the car. I'll put on my jacket.
Where are you going? You'll sleep. Why are you going?
I can't sleep here. I'll feel better if I go.
You're so foolish. Larry was your son too. You know he'd never tell you to do this.
Then what is this? If he isn't telling me, sure, he was my son. But I think to him they were all my sons. And I guess they were. I guess they were. I'll be right down.
Take it in.
I am taking it.
It's up to you. If you ask him to stay, he'll stay. Go and tell him.
Nobody could stop him now.
You'll stop him. How long will he live in prison? Are you trying to kill him?
I thought you read that letter.
The war is over. Didn't you hear? It's over.
Then what was Larry to you? A stone that dropped in the water? It isn't enough for him to be sorry. Larry didn't kill himself to make you and Dad sorry.
What more can we be?
You can be better. You can realize once and for all there's a universe of people out there and you're responsible to that. And if you can't do that, then you threw away your son because that's why he died. Find Jim!
Joe! 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 Joe!
Mother!
Oh, Joe!
I didn't mean to!
Oh, Joe. Don't, dear. Don't take it on yourself. Forget now. Live.